This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to 479 Spotlight, where we provide free promotion to local businesses in NWA to give them more exposure and create more trust in the community. Overall, we want to provide an inside look to our local business heroes that keep NWA running. My name is Holland, a small business owner in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and founder of 479 Spotlight. And today we have Ian Ryan with Brickyard, based in Bentonville, Arkansas. In these interviews, we're going to address two main parts. First, we're going to talk to any potential customers that Brickyard services, what Brickyard does, and how they can help you. And then we're going to talk about Ian and his journey as an entrepreneur in bringing Brickyard about and how he got here. So, Ian, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome.
Little getting set up.
That's all right. Yeah. Right before we started, he shared that he was in a location and then the cleaner started to come in, make a bunch of noise. So he had to regroup real quick. So I appreciate you doing that. Um, let's start talking about Brickyard. In a sentence or two, what does Brickyard do?
So Brickyard is a full service e-commerce marketplace management agency, specifically focusing on managing Amazon, Walmart, hopefully Target Plus in the future, the sales channels off of your main website.
Okay, cool. And how long has Brickyard been around?
Brickyard is almost a year old. I think I started it on July 6th of 2020.
Awesome. All right. And who is Brickyard's primary customer, ideal
Um,
customer?
yeah, so our ideal customer is a direct to consumer or retail based business that is selling a product that is either theirs, their IP, or their concept, and looking to expand into a broader audience by opening up a new sales channel, say on Amazon.com or Walmart.
Right.
That's really the main target audience. And it can be anywhere from a just launched business. I've worked with clients who started a Kickstarter, they got funded and wanted to go on Amazon right away. And I work with clients who have been on Amazon for a while and just haven't seen the growth they want, and they're looking to kind of get the treads rolling and see if we can scale up properly.
Got it. And we're talking just any retail product. Doesn't matter if
Yep.
it's apparel, physical, I mean, anything.
Yeah, I work with anything from board games to wallets and sunglasses to kids soccer games.
Nice. Okay, awesome. All right, so just help us identify like what is the biggest problem that you're solving for your clients when they come to you?
Yeah, a lot of the time when a business is looking to expand, the hardest part is either finding the bandwidth. Like if it's a small business, you have a small team. Who is the person that is tasked with learning an entirely new platform and keeping their eyes on it and managing it for you? And in other cases, if it's a larger business, it's who's going to be the one who heads it up, and is it worth hiring on a new person to train up and get up to speed? I kind of fill that role in. I partner with businesses, so it's not like I'm unreachable or it's just some random person out in the ether who's kind of looking over something.
Hmm.
I'm kind of brought on as that team member for you.
Right. Perfect. Okay. Um, and I'm assuming, so let's just say if a client was looking at services like this and they're trying to
Mhm.
make a decision between you and maybe two or three other companies that are doing the same thing, why would you suggest that they at least give you a try first?
Oof. Well, it's I think one of the biggest things that I've found is a bit of transparency and honesty with a client is vitally important. A lot of the time there is a need by people that run businesses like mine to constantly push and push and push for more just for themselves so they can, hey, we want a bunch of inventory just to Amazon because that way we're maximizing our profits.
Mm,
For me, it's about the success of the other person's business. The best option for so many businesses is to get their sales through their website or through their brick and mortar because that's where the least amount of overhead is for margins. Amazon takes a bunch of stuff from you right off the top. So how do we make sure that Amazon can grow and scale with your business and be a viable channel for, seeing profit growth on your side, but also not like at the expense of inventory for you to sell in your store? Because, we all know, especially nowadays, a product can go viral and sell out really quick. And if you're trying to keep up and you've overextended yourself on a platform like Amazon, you're now dealing with millions and millions of buyers, and then you're just starting to lose like ground there, and maybe they don't know who you are and they can't find you. So it's really about like the balance of how do we expand quickly and smoothly on Amazon, but also make sure our brand stays really strong on our
Awesome.
own platform.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That sounds great. Now, kind of help us paint a picture here. What does your clients' lives look like after they've invested in your services?
I think it's a lot of the experience and the stuff I've learned, like I've found through doing it, is a bit of ease. Like there's a weight kind of taken off.
Mm,
Um, Amazon has been around now for 20 plus years, and it's trying like how do we invest the time to learn all of that stuff and learn the platform, which includes everything from like having to copyright or create visual content or learn how to manage PPC ads or inventory management. You're kind of wearing a lot of hats.
mhm.
And I've been working in it for a while now, so I understand how the platform performs and where things need to be fixed. So one is a weight, there's a kind of a trust that's built there. And then another thing is hopefully, we see growth and they can now expand other sides of their business. If it was, hey, now we have extra money because of Amazon doing so well, we can finally put money into like that next product development we want to do. Or
Right.
we can spend more time focusing on us building awareness of our brand on social media or events, and we don't have to worry about taking on that extra weight from Amazon. So it's really, I think, taking that weight onto myself so they can focus on growing their business.
Awesome. That's perfect. All right, cool. Do you have any tips or advice for someone that has a maybe has a product or maybe has an idea of a product and they're wanting to scale it and wanting to start to sell it online?
Yeah, if you're looking to grow or move on to a channel that you think, like Amazon, you think you're ready for it, I would really, really take the time in understanding your margins so you aren't going into Amazon and then either shocked or worried about the time you put in to like, hey, we get this product and we're sourcing all these things and our unit costs X. And then you get to Amazon and it's, a fee to be on the platform and then a 15% fee per item. And then all these things start adding up and your margins get really tight. Take the time to grow into that place. I've always, and one of the things I like about what I do is I think the brand needs to focus on being a brand, right? Like build yourself up, make people aware of what your product is. Your community is just like the community around you is a strong proponent for you a lot of the times. So if you can build that awareness or kind of be out there and about and grow slowly and steadily rather than trying to just hit the jackpot and Amazon takes off and then you're stuck with, oh, I can't get inventory fast enough. And then you're kind of stuck always trying to like feed the beast that's there and
Yeah.
never getting like settled. So take the time to do it and invest the time in getting a strong foundation for your business and then setting that foundation on other platforms.
Awesome. Great advice. All right. Well, what's the best way for someone to get in contact with you or with Brickyard and look at hiring your services?
Yeah, so probably the best way, go to my website. It's www.thebrickyard.com, BRKYRD. It's a little
Right.
shorthand.
Right.
And then you can contact me through there or through email at ian@thebrickyard.com.
Perfect. All right. Let's shift gears then and talk more about you and your entrepreneur journey here. Why do you do this? Why do Brickyard?
Um, I come from a background of like warehousing, manufacturing management, and then through those got working into startups up in Boston. And there I was heading up supply chains and manufacturing logistics. So we're managing the relationship with our manufacturers, and then slowly opening up Amazon. And it was kind of my first foray into, how do we manage all these cycles that are vital to the business and not kind of overplay our hand a lot. And it's a difficult thing to do, especially in a startup culture where it's kind of bootstrapped, super tight, and you're trying to make the best decisions on how to present a product and how do we give value proposition on Amazon where it's minimal space to work with, and you're trying to build kind of a brand awareness as well as just sell the product really quickly. And it kind of stuck. It was pretty intuitive for me just because I was always having to think of a product on the technical terms of how it's manufactured and kind of telling the story of like the work that goes into something rather than just the presentation of a salesperson. So I get to have the kind of two perspectives of now, here's a platform that's a lot about the pitch, but how can we also tell the brand side and where the story of where we come from? And I think that's kind of how it really resonates with me doing what I do.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. What was the toughest thing that you kind of went through in getting started and getting Brickyard off the ground?
Starting.
Just starting.
Especially, we did it during COVID, like smack dab in the middle of everything. Mm-hmm. And I had been thinking about venturing out on my own for a little while. And it was always just, am I ready enough? Do I have enough runway to jump out on my own? And maybe there isn't a parachute there for me. And that was really the sticking point. It was always like one foot kind of edging closer to the edge and peeking over, and then never really having the willingness to just take that step. Luckily, I had a close friend who really pushed me to try to do it. He was like, at some point, you're going to find an excuse to not do it. And if you just take the jump, now you have to swim. Now you have to find a way to make it work. And he was right. And for me, it's kind of translated into his helping me. That really changed how I perceived my relationship with my clients. It was a lot of, now it's how do we help that person not be afraid of growth or change, but rather work together so they can survive and be more successful as a business.
Nice. All right. And if you had to start over, let's say if you had to start over from day one, is there anything that you would do differently when looking at taking that jump?
Oh, geez. I don't know. I think it was kind of exciting to just, once it happened, it was it was go time. I think maybe long term, have the business plan and stuff planned out to a T, so I knew exactly what I was doing. I did a lot of learning on the fly, which can be pretty difficult. And your first client comes on, you're like, oh, I need to have a contract agreement drawn up, or what's the best way I should give my value to a client? How should I set up pricing structures for everybody? And it kind of got overwhelming. And then as you a new client comes on, you learn from the first, and so on and so forth. And I think there's a lot of preparation that can be done, not to a perfect degree, but rather, hey, this is what I think I should be doing. This is what our value is. How do we then have that conversation going forward? So we're always on top of what we need to get done.
Yeah. Well, it's these little things that you keep bringing up that you don't really, they're there, but you don't really think about exactly what that's going to look like or what it should be until the time comes. And it's oh yeah, I do need that agreement. Or, we think about pricing structures, but the truth is that, I don't know, I feel like every client could be potentially, a little bit different, depends on what your business is, but you're always trying to find the best way to either create the best offer or provide the best situation for the customer you're trying to serve.
And I think I found that with a lot of retail businesses, they're selling a product, the people who are in charge of them are passionate about that, right? So it's I like this, I love this thing that I've been able to create, and I want customers to love it as well. And there's sometimes like there just isn't that like person behind like touching every little piece of the pie and being like, hey, we need to make sure we're focusing on like this little thing that might come up in the future. And luckily, I found that because I came from that, hey, how do we get things to a customer fast enough? How do we make sure our manufacturing is done smoothly and we're not like doing one thing at a time, but able to be consistent along on a lot of different kind of manufacturing structures? I'm able to work with customers to grow like those procedures as well. So it's more, my relationship is more than just like their Amazon guy, but rather like a resource for success in other forms as well,
Yeah,
which
just kind
strengthens
of,
that relationship.
yeah, overall, not maybe not everything, but from what you're doing, like a little bit of a consultation perspective, just like, hey,
Yeah,
these are things I've learned from you need to watch out for, otherwise it's going to get you.
yeah, it definitely feels like uh, almost as I am an employee of theirs, rather than
Right,
just like a guy on the outside who sends a bill every month.
right.
Because I want to be as invested and see their success as much as they do.
Got you. So you started in 2020,
Mhm.
in kind of the midst of COVID. How did you come out on top? Like, what was the way? I guess it's basically related to like, how did you bring in new customers? What was your way to get in contact with people and make that happen?
So we moved here from Charleston, South Carolina, and luckily that I have some relationships there with people who had businesses, and it was just, hey, just want to like touch base, let you know what I'm doing. Like I made a pretty big change, and my first client came from, hey, there's a buddy of mine who started a business. I know he knows what he's doing. He referred me, and that was the first client. It was just a friend telling another friend. And I think it's definitely changed how I thought about getting clientele. A referral is always better than a cold lead that shows up in an inbox
Right.
because there's already a bit of social proof. Like a friend knows who they are and they understand what the business is. It's really, uh, it's been beneficial to like foster the relationship with a client rather than just see them as an accounts payable kind of thing.
Awesome. So making those relationships,
Yeah,
getting the word out there. Awesome. Good stuff. Well, it's obviously, I mean, working out. So keep doing what you're doing.
thanks. Yeah, it's the relationship to me is the most important thing in the end because without that you don't build trust. You don't those people don't have to like without the relationship and the trust that's built, there's a constant worry of like, is that being handled properly? Is that being done? Do I need to check in more? Whereas my conversations are always, how was your weekend? Here's all the stuff that happened this past week. Here's the issues we're dealing with, and here's the resolutions we're going for to get them fixed. So it's not just a, you know, I need to know this blah 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 email. It's a personalized breakdown of all the things that are going on, and then that way we can both work on what the best steps are going forward.
Great. That sounds awesome. Where do you see your business in the next, 6 months to a year, now that things are
Um,
kind of moving forward and opening up and
yeah, I hope to see it growing the way it is. Like we've taken a slow and steady approach. We want to be a business that works with brands who are looking to add value into their communities, into the world, and not just another like throwaway product that potentially just is another thing that sits on a shelf sometimes. And that doesn't mean those products are bad. It
sure.
just I think there's a lot of perspective that's changed because of COVID. And I think that those values are really strong in our company, and we want to make sure there's like that we're working with people who do that same thing.
Yeah.
And then as well as becoming a resource for people. There's definitely a plus side to just having a phone call with someone, and if they have questions, I can answer them. And working with someone just to find a quick solution is at least that person got some help somehow.
Sounds good.
So in a year,
So
doing that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So on this journey that you're trying to get to, doing this 6 months to a year, like, are there any challenges that you're currently facing to make that happen?
Um, like a little bit. I think there's a lot of pressure for especially new business owners. Like what's the next, because you're bootstrapped and playing with, like, you're tight on your budget, you have to meet all these other things. I think the biggest challenge is going to be to do it sustainably, right? At some point, you have to bring on new clients that are going to be successful with the work you do for them. So it's trying to balance like a value structure with growth goals and meeting KPIs and stuff like that. And hopefully we can overcome those and help a lot of people as well as build a lot of business, and then just continue to keep rolling on.
Yeah, that's great. Cool stuff, man. All right, well, let's do one more shameless plug here. What's the best way for someone to get in contact with you or to look at hiring Brickyard services?
Yeah, so my website's www.thebrickyard.com, BRKYRD. They can reach me at my email is probably the best, ian@thebrickyard.com. Or on Google. So if you want to search for it, Amazon agencies is probably the best way to find it. There's a lot out there.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah,
So there
give me
you
a
have
shot.
it. If you guys, anyone out there is listening and has a product they're wanting to get on Amazon and need some help with that, definitely get in contact with Ian. Again, 479 Spotlight's mission is to provide free promotion to local businesses in NWA and give them more exposure to create more trust in the community. To get notified of new interviews, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube by searching 479 Spotlight or by going to 479spotlight.com. If you are a business owner and would like to be featured, just schedule your interview on 479spotlight.com. Thanks for joining us today. Keep having fun, NWA. Ian, do you have any last words?
The last words. No, thanks, Brock. This is great.
Awesome. I'm glad you came. Glad you took the time to do this. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Alrighty.